Welcome to the new podcast, episode number 37. My name is Steven, joined as always by co-host and producer extraordinaire, Kelly. Let's get to it. An incredible show to get to with a ton of shit going down this weekend. Super Showdown in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. We had UFC 238 in Chicago. And obviously a lot of basketball shit going down this week. You'd have to be living underneath a rock to not have heard about the Raptors' great run in the NBA Finals and the NHL Finals also going down this week.
Raptors are in the NHL Finals?
They sure are.
I had no idea.
That's how good they are.
Damn, those are elite athletes.
That's something I'd pay to see. Crossover, like football players playing hockey, or
it'd probably be like when Michael Jordan tried to play golf.
Yeah, baseball even. He wasn't that great at baseball either. So
might not be so good. I don't know. I think you need a different body type too.
Yeah, obviously. It's like, you mean being 7'7" isn't going to be a good height for hockey?
Yeah. Sorry for the bad joke.
Oh shit! You're hilarious, Kelly. Let's get to some news here. Not a whole hell of a lot of news to get to this week. With everything going down, we got plenty to talk about. I think the biggest thing coming down the pipe, and it was a bit of a shocker to me, King Mo Lawal retires. Hanging it up and calling him a career. King Mo, 21-9 as a professional collegiate wrestler as well. He's only 38. Maybe it's a good time to hang him up. That is older and to be a fighter, 38. But such a tough dude. I really like King Mo Lawal throughout his entire career, especially his early career was really cool. Kind of, they had that Rampage-esqueness to him. The great wrestler that was a shit talker, and he had a bit of flair too. Always come to the ring with a crown on and shit like that. I've always really enjoyed King Mo's fight. Later on in his career, he became more of a boring fighter. But earlier in his career, he was a banger, and I think that's what was the best part about him. 13 of his wins by KO, 8 by decision, 6 of his 9 losses by KO, and 3 by decision. No submission finishes and no submission being finished by submission. That's kind of a crazy stat if you think about it, especially a guy who has 30 fights.
Does Bellator have a Hall of Fame?
I don't think they do. They should, though.
He could be the first one in it. He's like a Bellator guy, like his whole career almost.
Basically, yeah, absolutely. Been fighting in Bellator since long time ago.
Definitely give him his notoriety.
Yeah, fighting in Bellator since 2013 was his first Bellator fight.
Quite a while.
Yeah, very long time. Had only fought in Strikeforce twice. A lot of times in Strikeforce. He made a good name over there. And when that's the funniest thing about King Mo is I've seen his entire career. I'll never forget his first fight against Travis Whiff in Sengoku. It was a one-night tournament, Kelly, in Sengoku. And no, sorry, I was mistaken. No, that wasn't the tournament one. But to go against Travis Whiff, who's a fucking journeyman, and this is your first fight, is against Travis Whiff, who I'm sure at this point had like 50 fights underneath his belt, to go in and kind of just knock him out, basically one-punch him in 2 minutes. And then really made a name for himself after that. King Mo really, he goes on to beat just a ton of dudes. Coming over to America and beating Mike Whitehead is his first big win. Mark Kerr, that's what a crazy 6 degrees of separation is. King Mo fought Mark Kerr, the Wrecking Machine, man. This guy was supposed to be the biggest MMA fighter of all time. If you haven't checked out his movie, Mark Kerr. The Smashing Machine. He was touted to be the next big thing. He was unbeatable. American wrestler, absolutely unbeatable. Got the thing that took him down, painkillers. Got heavily addicted to painkillers and was just never the same dude. Never the same dude after that. See, like look at this, Kelly. He went like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fights going to no contest. So he was 12-0-1 with a no contest against Vochenchin. You know what I mean? Just to have gone that many fights, you know what I mean, undefeated in the early days, especially, you know, fighting in Pride, fighting in UFC. He was undefeated in the UFC. He had 4 wins in the UFC. You know what I mean? Goes over to Pride to get the money, also undefeated. You know what I mean? Just like, how crazy is that? And then to his first loss against Vegeta, and then he goes back and beats Igor Borisov, and then that was it. Lost to Vochenchin, loses to Heath Herring, loses to Yamamoto, loses to Mike Whitehead, loses to Mustafa Al-Turk, and then gets a few wins against a few nobodies and nobody organizations, then losing to Oleg Taktarov. I remember that one. Yama, do you remember that? Or did you remember? It had a one event, Yama pit fighting.
Yeah.
We're going down the rabbit hole deep here, folks. It was but it was kind of like the karate combat ring where the it wasn't as too much of an angle, Kelly, but it was sloped up to the cage, so it had like a bit of a slope, and then it would go up to the cage, so you could really use the slope. I thought it was actually kind of cool. You could really use that slope to your advantage. If you were getting pushed up against the cage, it almost gave you more of an advantage, so you were less likely to see these people grinding you up against the cage. And that's why I thought, like, this is actually a really, really good idea. I don't know why more people haven't adopted it, but I'm sure someone got their head wrung off it or something like that. Because if obviously you're crumpled up against you're in a very disadvantaged position as well. But I remember that's where I saw Mark Kerr. He was heavily overweight for his frame, coming from a dude that was just shredded. This guy was just shredded, Kelly, and huge. Like every muscle, like absolutely shredded. And to see him when he fought Oleg Taktarov, he was a butterball. He was an absolute butterball and a shell of himself. He ends up losing. Then he loses 5 fights after that, and that's when the whole thing came out that he was addicted to painkillers, and he got knocked out by King Mo. Too. Lost to Jeff Munson at that time. Hasn't fought since 2009. 2009 was his last fight against King Mo, almost 10 years. But he is an older dude. He's just 50 now, obviously, so he's definitely not going to be stepping back in the cage. Really went down deep down. I could have kept on going after Mark Kerr. He's fought a plethora of amazing names, but let's get back to King Mo here. He beat Gegard Musashi too. That's a kind of a weird one too. Who knew there was 6 degrees of separation? He fought Gegard Musashi. I totally forgot about that fight, and he beat him. It was still a 205. That's a bit of a stretch for Gegard. You know, a guy who's even fought at 170. Then loses to Jay-Z, Rafael Cavalcante, getting TKO. And there's another dude who you could easily lose yourself in with the different dudes he's fought and kind of fallen off the face of the earth as well. And then beating Roger Gracie with KO punch. That was a good one. I've honestly think I've seen every King Mo fight. That's why I kind of wanted to talk about King Mo and have a lot of respect for his career and the amount of dudes he's fought and the dudes he has fought. My hat goes off, and just a dude who I've seen his entire resume, really. I'm just reading through these fights. I don't think I've missed a single one of these fights, you know what I mean? I remember all these fights. Lorenz Larkin, that was going to a no contest. That was someone failed. I think King Mo failed his piss test on that one. Fighting a nobody in Myzelia. Losing to Emmanuel Newton. Oh, I totally remember that one. He got spinning back fisted too. That really helped Emmanuel Newton's career out hugely. Was that he really got posterized by that spinning back fist? Then KOing Seth Petrozelli, the Kimbo Slice killer. Beating Jacob Noah. I have no clue who that dude is. And then losing again to Emmanuel Newton. Beating Mikhail Zaretz. Losing to Rampage. That was a controversial one. Do you remember that one, Kelly? That was a controversial one where it was kind of a really slow battle between both the dudes. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Like a lot of grappling.
Yeah, a ton of it. Beating Dustin Jacoby, Joe Vapidito, Vedipo. Czech Congo he beat by split decision. Beating Linton Vassal. That's a good one too. Brent McDermott. He kind of went on a bit of a tear there. Beating Brent McDermott, Theodoros Askuskis, Yuri Perchayak. I think that wasn't Risen. Yeah, he's one of their big Risen guys, and you knocked him out. Actually, that's a good win for him. Then losing to Phil Davis. Most people do, especially these wrestlers. You get grounded out by him. Phil Davis wrestling is just too good. Beating Satoshi Ishii is a huge one. Losing to Crow Cop. beating Rampage to get the redemption, then unfortunately his chin just kind of has never been the same. TKO by Bader, TKO by Liam Riguri, and then losing again after knocking out Yuri. He loses to Yuri here, and then calls it quits. Great storied career by King Mo Lawal. Always loved his fights, and it's just kind of cool. A resume like that. Like, I've talked about a lot of fighters on this show, but I don't think I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure I've seen every King Mo fight. Just being having his name and just how much of a name he has been since day one, and that goes to show with that win over Travis Whiff. What a story, you know what I mean? Coming out and fighting a veteran, and then kind of just having your name launched after that, Kelly. Like, how many dudes can even say that too? Their first fight was against a really tough dude, and they knocked him the fuck out in no time flat. Incredible story career by King Mo.
There was Joe Lozon when he beat up Little Heathen Jeremy Stevens, I think it was. He knocked him out, didn't he?
I think it was another guy. I think you're thinking of Spencer Fisher. I think, but they look identical. They look absolutely identical, and he doesn't fight anymore. Another smaller weight class journeyman dude. But I think that he has fought. Maybe I could be mistaken. I think he has fought Little Heathens though as well. Let's take a look here.
It should be like way into.
He's got a lot of UFC fights.
Jeremy Stevens submission. No, that was it.
Keep going.
Jens Pulver.
Oh, Jens Pulver.
Yeah,
yes. They all look identical.
Yeah,
they all
do.
Damn, Americans, y'all look the same. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he came out and knocked him out in 48 seconds in the first round when Jens Pulver was like top of his game.
Yeah, good call, man. Good call. Yeah, and this guy comes out of nowhere. And maybe I'm thinking of his brother, because I think Joe Lozon's brother, Dan Lozon, was also in UFC for a little while too. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of him.
Joe is a very good mediocre fighter.
The most mediocre you can find.
No, he's good. No hate.
No, I like him a lot too. I always enjoyed his fights. Good thing he can wrap him up and call it a career. Yeah. Biggest fight announcement news, obviously, this week. Khabib Nurmagomedov gonna be taking on Dustin Diamond Poirier, UFC 242 in Dubai. Wow, September 7th. That's gonna be going down. How crazy is that, man? Finally, the official announcement.
Dubai.
Nurmagomedov taking on Poirier.
I hope Poirier has good security. That could be an issue.
Yeah, that's I know it is totally good move by the UFC to obviously put a Muslim fighter in a predominantly Muslim country.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. For just, you know, I mean, we see with the popularity of WWE going to Saudi Arabia, I know it's a different country, but still, it's, you know what I mean, the Middle Eastern, they don't see a lot of this Western entertainment come their way, obviously because of legal issues and rules that go on in these countries, but huge. I remember the last time when they went to Dubai, it was like a terrible card. You know what I mean? It was great on paper, but it ended up being terrible. It was Frankie Edgar versus BJ Penn. Do you remember that? The first one? And then it was Damian Maia versus Anderson Silva. And probably one of the worst fights of all time, like, period. Worst fights in MMA history. But I can't blame him. Much like in this WWE card, it was 100 degrees. You know what I mean? 100 degrees. So imagine performing in that weather. You know what I mean? It's obviously not going to be the easiest thing to do.
I didn't think they were fighting. I thought they were doing performance art.
Shut up.
It wasn't really a fight.
That is true. They're putting on a show. They might as well have been wrestling. It would have been much more enjoyable.
It was their interpretation of a fight.
You're hilarious, man. That is too much. That is too much. Oh boy. They haven't really announced anything else. Oh no, they did. They have announced some other ones for this card. Let's take a look at this card. UFC 242. Let's take a look here. Surprise, surprise. A lot of D'Agostini's obviously are going to be on this one. They got Takashi Sato going to take on Belal Muhammad. Timu Pakinen, Finnish dude taking on Ottoman Azatari. This dude's 11-0. Let's tell you, who the hell is this guy? Ottoman Azatari. 6 degrees of separation. His first UFC fight. Fought for Brave. Interesting, or enough organization. Wow, he's undefeated, but doesn't look like he's really fought in anybody, though. Yeah, it looks like a few of these dudes he's fought are the same guy, too, so we'll see what happens. He's from Germany. The Bulldozer, not a bad nickname. Ottoman Bulldozer Azatari. Not a bad nickname. I like that nickname. But he's got a tough test in front of him, and Timu Pakinen, he's kind of just a veteran of the UFC as well. Kind of being the beneficiary of having Finnish cards and not, or having the Swedish cards and not really having a ton of Scandinavian fighters. They'll come through every once in a while, once a year, once every other year, and you're going to get a fight. So that's a good paycheck to take. I think obviously the other fight that I'm actually going to be looking forward to would be Curtis Blades taking on Shamil Akbukaramov. So that one should be actually a good one. Shamil, I can't remember who he fought last. He's fought on a recent UFC and won as well. I think that's the reason why they're going to be fighting each other. Kind of a weird one for Curtis Blades, though, really. To be kind of going down the ranks. This would be this is not even close to a contender fight. Really, if you think about it. So kind of a weird showing that.
So who do you got?
I think I got to go Shamil. I think Curtis Blades is good, but this Shamil guy is huge. Let's see. I can't remember who the hell he fought last time. Who did he fight? Marcin Tybura, the Polish dude, knocked him out. And he went to decision with Arlovsky. That's where I saw him recently too. Yeah, knocked out Chase Sherman. I got knocked out by Derek Lewis though. Huh. Interesting. Tough to say. Who are you taking on that one?
Curtis Blades.
Going Blades. Yeah. Razor Blades. Interesting matchup, though, if to say the least. It's kind of weird how they are loading us up with a ton of these, obviously, Muslim Russians, but who else do you think they're going to have? They got to have at least one other title or another marquee matchup, another heavyweight or something, I think that's what makes more sense is a good heavyweight bout in there, another one. Stacking it full of heavyweights. Khabib's had a ton of injury problems. Does he back out of this one? We'll find out. Dustin Poirier, too. He's been bitten by the injury bug in the past, too. So I wouldn't hold your breath until those dudes are stepping into the octagon the night of September 7th. I wouldn't count on that main event could be scrapped. I'm just going with history, folks. Interesting news coming out of the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Their champion, female champ, Beck Rollins, signs an agreement with Bellator. Going over to Bellator, I know, yeah. I thought that was kind of a weird move. She's the champ. Maybe she's going to do both. Kind of weird, though. If I was Scott Coker and I had a fighter who was going to be switching time between bare knuckle boxing and my organization, I'd have to say no, thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be busted up.
No, I'm saying about injury too. You know what I mean? Busting up your face, busting up your hands. You know what I mean? That's not a good mix.
Be more money if at bare knuckle. No, isn't that why people go there?
You would think so. You'd think so, but maybe she isn't getting paid that much. And maybe she's getting guaranteed money out of Bellator. Bellator honestly needs to boost their women's division. And one thing I like about Bellator is they're being kind of quiet right now, which is good. That's what I've said this whole time. Load your shows up in the wintertime, in the fall and the winter. Load them up. Don't do as many shows in the summertime. I think that's what Bellator is actually doing. They're doing a damn good job of it. if there's going to be an off season, we got to take an off season. That'd be the time. But I think that's what this move just states, is that how desperate Bellator is for women fighters right now of all weight classes. If you're going to have those championships, you better have the weight classes to be able to back it up. And they have two great champs. The other champ, the local one from Coquitlam, Jessica Budd or Julia Budd, something like that. She's a good fighter. She's good, but she's not great. And you know what I mean? I think that just shows that division does need some more talent as well, because I've seen her fight tons since day one. I've seen her fight tons, and she's had a lot of ups and downs. A lot of up and downs. I think Ronda Rousey actually folded her arm backwards. So yeah, exactly. Like early on, but they need more talent.
Well, just the fact that you can't remember her first name
Yeah,
shows that she's decent.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know who she is.
Exactly. She's more of just a journey woman, not a journeyman. I use that term all the time, but a journey woman. Been around, fought a lot, and always been a fighter.
Sometimes you need to go to UFC to make a name for yourself.
Of course, yeah, and that's how these people are getting paid outside of the UFC, right, Kelly? You know, I mean, all these minor league organizations, they'll sign you and give you decent money just because you're in UFC. Yeah. You know, it's like just like WWE, something like that.
And they announce you as like former UFC
fighter. Yeah, oh, for sure. Not let alone if you're a former UFC champion of some kind. You know what I mean? You would definitely that would definitely be something no one could ever take off your resume. Even if you did lose. Yeah, but I thought it was a weird move too. So is she splitting time between bare knuckle boxing and Bellator? Only time will tell. I think the hugest news for us locally, it was kind of announced, if you've seen the video of UFC President Dana White announcing that the UFC will be coming to Vancouver in September. Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm definitely not going to be going because tickets will be outrageous. Yeah. But it's kind of cool. You know, it's cool for the city. Either way, we'll see some local talent. If there is any, I don't think there really is. You know, Rory McDonald, really the last great UFC fighter to come out of the province of British Columbia.
Mm-hmm. And Elias is gone now.
Yeah. Well, he's from, I think he's from Ontario or something though.
Yeah.
But exactly, yeah. Even have Canadians, let alone local BC Canadians. You know what I mean? Obviously from the island, Sarah Kaufman as well. She was a champion, I think, of Strikeforce or something, as well. So there's that. She's very famous, but she's fighting for PFL, so definitely not going to be any actual BC content. But that's okay. Kind of a cool news. But if you see the press conference, even Dana kind of doesn't even really know about it, and he's just kind of, I agree. Yeah, he's like, is that true? He's like, oh, okay, it is true. Okay, yeah, so we are going in September, but still, I think it's only gonna be like a fight night or something like that.
Sam Stout, is he still in the UFC or did he retire?
Long retired.
Yeah, there's nobody.
One guy I actually met was Bill the Butcher Mahood from Prince George. But he's long retired too. He was most famous for having, it was Forrest Griffin's first UFC fight after the show was against him, and he got choked out, rear naked choked. But still, it's kind of cool. You got a chance in the UFC, and you got to fight one of their toughest dudes in Forrest Griffin at that time, and you lost to him. But it's kind of cool to have on your resume. You know what I mean? He always has a former UFC fighter on his career too.
One of the things about Canada too is like we follow like fighters, man. We don't care where you're from, really.
That's big time too. Absolutely, totally true, man. Absolutely.
We don't mind hating on a Canadian if he's a jerk.
Oh, big time. Caleb Starnes.
Yeah. I heard he's not doing so good these days.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think obviously with how he, just from what we saw of him, he was on the show. Ultimate Fighter, and then obviously we saw following his career from the UFC. He's obviously battled mental health issues. You know what I mean? That's pretty obvious just from looking at all the video on the guy. And I hope he gets better, and people people battle these things and deal with them, and they are affected in all different ways when it comes to mental health. You can never put a book and say, yeah, this is what your problem is. Here's your solution. Have a nice day. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And people treat it differently, and we can only hope the best for everyone and positive thoughts. Where would they be going on September though here? Because they're gonna go all the way from Dubai to Vancouver. Let's take a look here. So they have a ton of, and they're going to Mexico City too. So yeah, it's gonna be a fight night for sure. Because the only official UFC is the Dubai card, and then September 14th they have something that's going to be September 14th. September 21st is an Ultimate Fight Night, which is going to be in Mexico City, and then September 28th is also so we can maybe see a later September card or a mid-September card in Vancouver. Either way, we do know it will be a fight night. So it will be a lower level card, and then we'll see who they have as the main event. Edmonton had a decent one with that recently. Those sons of bitches with Cowboy on versus Iaquinta, and so I'd be happy with a main event of that caliber. Whew, rambling on here. I want to talk about briefly some video game shit. Kelly, have you gotten into just apexing it up?
Just apexing it up.
Nice. All day, every day.
Got a couple wins yesterday.
Nice.
Yep.
I've been obviously playing a ton of Zelda still. One game that actually just came on sale on Steam is a game I've always kind of hunted for a very long time. Because I haven't played it since probably like 2001. And it was like the best thing about computers is the real-time strategies. I tell you, you know what I mean? I've always loved real-time strategies since I was a little kid. But this one was awesome. Warlords Battlecry 3 has gone on sale, folks. Get it on Steam today. Warlords Battlecry 3. One of the best real-time strategies of all time. Super underrated game. But it's an amazing game. It kind of was a game that had heroes before Warcraft 3 had come out. So you have heroes, but the best thing about the game is the races. There's like 16 different races you can choose from between like ice people, skeletons, vampire people, orcs, humans, every fucking thing, elves, dwarves, everything. It's all, and they all have unique weapons, unique abilities, unique unique warriors and that type of shit. Great game. I can't wait to download it. I'm going to probably download tonight. Super fun game. Super easy. It came out like almost 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's an older game. Probably like 15 years ago it came out. But it just, for its time, it was so in-depth. But the coolest part is your heroes live on. You can play two different ways. You can play hardcore mode or just normal mode. But in hardcore mode, you get plus 200% experience, but if you die, that's it. You're done. You gotta start over. Whereas in the other one, if you die, you're gone for that. You're gone for that match, and you can come back and on the next one, but you only gain normal experience. So your hero carries on through different battles. So if you're just doing skirmishes or doing a story mode, you can carry your hero with you the whole time, and so he's constantly getting new experience, new spells and different abilities, and getting stronger himself. So down the road, you have this hero who's super strong and can really kick the shit out of people and like take on a whole army all by himself. So it's just that aspect alone is really such an interesting, fun game, way ahead of its time, and I just always really loved it. I can't wait to try it out. But obviously, getting back to Zelda, oh my God, Kelly, what an amazing game! It's so fucking good. I can't say enough good things about it, and it's constantly it's so open world and storyline slash like main story ability, how that integrates itself together. It's flawless. I cannot fucking believe how well it goes together. My mind is just blown away how you could just really dick around for a long time, but you get channeled into these little storylines. You'll always, no matter what you're doing, you can get channeled into these little storylines, and you could go totally off the grid, climb up, every fucking mountain that's around there, and it's just insane, man. It's just so insane. The enemies I'm coming across right now too. So I'm on the storyline now where I got to get these 4 magnificent beast things, and I'm going to the first one. I'm just kind of stumbling around, like, okay, let's go for the words he's missing here. I'm just stumbling around, and I get channeled into this huge mission of these water people, and it's just crazy. Yeah, you can ride anything in it now. I could have snuck up behind a deer and rode a deer. Had a deer as my mount.
This guy on a bear.
Yeah, if you can sneak up on them and get on top of it, you just gotta be nice to them, and they'll be your animal for the next little while. It's super in depth. Just with the climbing alone, Kelly, it makes Assassin's Creed look like a bitch, man. It seriously does. The climbing is insane in the game. But what's so cool about the area I'm in right now is it's like it's these water people, and I guess 100 years ago the princess of these water people was like my main love interest. So then after I had went to save the princess and disappeared, she went crazy and hexed the whole place and kind of became her own evil witch, and so it's been raining for like 100 years. So like everything's there to you know what I mean, even though they're water people, it's too much rain. It's too much for them. So I gotta like go find her, and as I'm kind of having I finally have my first flashback where I realize I'm getting my memory back, but the mission to get up to this fucking place alone was so fucking hard because there's like thunderstorms, and now I'm seeing the elemental aspects of the game, the elemental shit that comes into it now. It is so cool. So I can't climb anything because everything's slippery and wet. I'm like, what a fucking amazing detail. I can't climb the walls because everything's too wet because it's just I'm in a fucking downpour. And then these lightning bolts are coming down and smashing every fucking thing at random, and it's just super crazy. But if I walk out to a certain areas, they're not just going to hit me with lightning bolts the whole time. That would be so annoying. So that was even nice about it too. There's these certain pathways where the lightning's just coming down like crazy, and you got to kind of run for it. But then there's open areas where it's just pissing rain and it's not coming down on you, but your weapons conduct electricity. You know what I mean? So I'm walking and then my pocket's fucking sparking, boom, lightning bolt hits me, I'm dead. You know what I mean? I thought like, man, what a nice aspect that is, even if I am getting hit by lightning bolts. And I'm fighting these dudes, these chameleon guys, they all got lightning arrows, and they're really annoying to fight. That's why I find out I gotta take over this elephant. Has been raining on us the whole time, and I gotta go inside this elephant, that one of the mechanical beasts, and write the electricity inside of it, and make sure that it stops raining all the time. Going off the track though, man, it is so much fun just to search around and go off, just explore in this game. It's just, oh my god, it's so absolutely amazing, man. It's just absolutely beautiful how they did it. All these enemies different enemies are coming up against. So I'm going up this place to get up this thing, and there's this guy. He just seems like he's gonna scam me or something. He's like a fish guy, and he's a prince, and he's like, oh, just go up to the top and talk to the king, and we need your help to fix this. We can't do it because we're fish, and the electric arrows just fuck us up. So they knew we needed somebody that has some kind of resistance against the electric bolt. So they get me up there, and the whole time I'm going up there and fighting constantly. And I'm finally at the last bridge, and this guy's like, "Hey," he's like, "You're almost there." He's like, "But there's a huge beast coming up behind you." So I can turn around, and it's this huge, bigger than normal one than I see. These they're not goblins, they're moblins coming up behind me. So he's coming behind me, and because I learned that technique to parry their attacks. Since these guys are slower, it's easier to parry their attacks. So I parry his attack, hack the shit out of him with like a 7-hit combo, and boom, he's dead. Can't say enough about just how diverse it is. But the coolest part, and I'm getting deep into it, is since the first thing you do is pick up a weapon, the weapons are getting so fucking cool, man. Boomerangs, Kelly, and I've never played a game with like lifelike boomerangs like this. You can throw them and it's great. They will come back to you, but it may not. Like if you hit something, it's not going to come back. You know what I mean? And it doesn't come back perfectly to you. You kind of got to move a little bit and then catch it. So you got to hit A just as it comes to you to catch it too. So you know what I mean? You hit a dude and it comes back, and it's not a perfect science, which is kind of like a boomerang. And I thought, man, but the boomerangs are fucking sweet, super sweet. These lizard people I'm fighting, they drop really cool ones. They can drop cool spears. and it's just so cool. The boomerangs, I love using them. Are so fun. You can even just hack the shit out of a dude with it. But throwing them is really a cool technique. But like I said, usually I'll end up losing it because I'll throw it against a dude and it'll bounce off a stone behind him or something and it's gone. You know what I mean? It's gone down a hill. Oh man, such a good game. Such a good game.
That's the Verdum style where you just hack somebody with it.
Exactly. That's where you learned it from. That's hilarious. Good game. Check it out, folks.
It's a new legend coming out on Apex in
really?
9 days or so. Character named Watson. Apparently they go into like a backstory about the character, how she was like the daughter of the creator of the island. But she has some cool abilities. One of her abilities is she throws down like this I don't know what it'd be called. It like blocks basically all incoming attacks. Like if someone throws like those airstrike at you, it'll block all those airstrikes.
Crazy.
Like, up in the sky and stuff like that. And then she also can do like these electric fences, and she can set up fences. So like she can block doorways with the fences and stuff like that, and be strategic that way. If someone's chasing you, you can keep like laying down
Crazy.
fences.
That could be a good way to kind of box yourself into a building.
Yeah. So yeah, it could be useful. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It probably won't be. I'll probably be talking about her though, like in a couple of weeks. Because,
oh really?
She's not gonna come out this like by next podcast, but the one after that.
Oh, I got you. Nice, yeah. Nice.
But it should be interesting. And they had a few updates with the Apex Legends. They have like kind of like Fortnite has, where they have like weekly challenges.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you can unlock some cool skins right now.
Oh,
like
cool.
Some really badass skins. Probably better than ones that actually come with Battle Pass that you have to buy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's about it. Oh yeah, the Mozambique was buffed, so it actually works now.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What do they do? Like add to the range or just add to the damage?
I think just damage.
Wow.
Because I dropped somebody right away. I was like, oh man, I usually have to hit him 3 times in the head to drop him.
Yeah, damn Mozambique.
But now I just I just see blood everywhere. It's like sweet.
That's hilarious. I think it's exactly that in those games. You really got to make everything good. You know, because then why are people going to use a shitty ass gun? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just going to be just tossed away. Like why even have it in the game if no one's going to use it?
I found that the Havoc is a beast from like up close fighting. I'd rather have that than the Peacemaker now.
Oh, I can believe it.
Like I'm dropping like whole teams with it now.
Really? Wow.
Once you start lighting up, like if you hit them with like half a clip, they'll drop. You could drop 2 people with a full clip if they don't have armor.
Wow. Peacemaking it up. Watch out.
No, Havoc.
Oh, Havoc.
Yeah. Peacemaker was my favorite for close range before, but now Havoc, I'm just blasting people. It's crazy.
Havoc in them.
People are missing me with their shotguns and are just like Havoc.
Wow. Is Havoc the is that the energy one?
Yeah. It's
energy. Cool, yeah.
Because before it was going with Devotion because it was like a bigger gun, it looked better. But
right.
Havoc is like I think it maybe has a faster spin time. So if you don't have a turbocharger, you can still use it pretty fast, and it just drops people fast, man. It's almost like a rail gun.
Crazy.
Yeah. I've never used it before, because it took so long to spin up.
Yeah. I was like this. I was feel the same way. Exactly. Yeah.
But I can get hit with a few bullets before it spins up. By the time it's hitting them, it like drops them super fast.
Nice. Check it out. Hit us up on Twitter, folks. At And New Podcast. Steven and Kelly's And New Podcast. Hit us up if you want to play some Apex. You got some video games you like to talk about. Or just general bullshit. We've actually been getting a bit of Twitter love actually recently, oddly enough. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's getting there, though. It's getting there. I think the podcast community is tight. I think that's all it is. Let's do it, man. Back by popular demand. Reviewing the reviews. We got a good one this week, folks. Also, Kelly's suggestion as well on this one, just because it's such a shallow and pedantic place. The Boathouse Restaurant. It's like an upper scale restaurant. It's in an upper scale neighborhood. If you can actually have those in this town, but it is right by the beach. So something I'm thinking I'm gonna go with like a surfer dude accent for this one here. For this review here, it's well known for being an expensive like place to eat, like not super expensive, like just a bit up from the keg, but lower than something like super ritzy. It's only got 2.8 out of 5 on Zomato. That's not very good, but it does have out of 913 reviews. It only has a 3.8. That's not a great score. Not a bad score. A lot of 5 stars, but a good chunk of those are actually 3s. I'm surprised. I've never seen so many 3 stars in my life. People are keeping it real when it comes to the boathouse. Let's take a look here. I'm seeing a lot of 2s, and these are from a lot recently. Okay, let's read this one here. This person's only done 9 reviews. There's a lot of people who are reviewing this place. This person gave a 5-star. They have 94 reviews, Kelly, but 1,043 pictures they have posted with their reviews. Dang. 1,043. That's like 100. That's a fucking 100, over 100 photos per review.
This guy thinks he's a photo journalist. But really, he's just leaving Google reviews.
Isn't that the same thing?
I don't think so. This guy's gonna catch Spider-Man or something.
Holy moly. Peter Parker over here. All right. AF. Only 9 reviews. 1 photo. 6 days ago, they reviewed him. The food here is definitely not worthy of of anything above 3 stars, considering the cost. The crab dip tasted off and lacked any indication of actual crab.
There's no crab in this crab dip.
I know. And I know crab dip, and there's no crab in this crab dip. Also ordered the chili chicken. This was tossed in too much sauce and canned pineapple. Great view, friendly service, but the food is a major downer considering the price. 2 stars though. That's kind of a bit ruthless because they liked the view. Service was great, but the food was terrible. I guess a 2, almost maybe a 3 would be more worthy. I guess, that is what they said. It's definitely not worthy of anything above 3 stars. So they gave him a 2. That's probably one of the most honest reviews I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, not bad.
To the point, the man likes crab. The man wants crabs. Let's go this one, though. I saw this one here as 1 star. I always like it when people are, like, expected to wait because, like, they're so far above that. EI, it is EI. 34 reviews, 43 photos, 3 weeks ago, 1 star. We were told to wait 15 minutes to get started.
Oh my god.
I specifically mentioned we came for happy hour. Half an hour later, another person tells me they don't do happy hour on the upper floor. First person I spoke to was staring at me either could have said that but opted to let me and my wife sit and wait. Look how 1 star. I reviewed them while I was having my Mai Tai. You know what I mean? Who goes really? That's what I'm saying about this person. That's what I'm saying. Who goes to the boathouse for happy hour? You know what I mean? There's like a million other bars and places like that along the strip that you could go to. The boathouse would be the last place I'd be going to for drinks.
Yeah.
That's the place where you go to have a meal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One.
Yeah, an expensive one, exactly. So like what a piece of shit this guy is. Be like, oh, this upscale restaurant isn't going to serve me drinks. Okay, that's all I came here for. You know what I mean? Very odd. Very odd. Typical D-bag. Okay, this is a good one. Oh boy, this person emailed them. I love this one. Same amount of reviews too. 3 weeks ago, it was right around the same time. These people, it must have been the other person he was with, the same guy he was with. So he had to write a fake review. 2 stars 3 weeks ago. DM 9 reviews. This guy's got. I was extremely disappointed with my Sunday brunch buffet. The food was bland. Shrimps, clams, desserts, overcooked. The roast was well done. Stale bread, cookies is all in parentheses here. This guy, that dot is way too big. I think this guy had too many mimosas. There's too many spaces there, bro. And if you would think with the price, you could get a decent cup of coffee. He's mad at the coffee. That's all he wants, decent cup of coffee. They ain't gonna. Sure, they can charge you $20 for entree, for appetizer. But they ain't. But he's gonna be mad at the $2.50 coffee was bad.
Yeah.
Nope, an extra $4 to a grand total of $56 per person. It is true. It is an expensive place. It hurt leaving a tip. First and last time I go there, the manager offered me an appetizer for my next visit if I emailed him, no thanks. Like, what an asshole. Oh my god, what an asshole.
Oh man. The boathouse is expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that before. New news.
That's not the news you want when you get the check. That's for sure. $4 coffee though. That's enough for me to. I wouldn't be getting coffee.
That is very expensive bean water.
Huh. The most expensive bean water this side of the Mississippi.
So I do say.
It's a lot of good reviews, obviously, about this place. Here's another person complaining about a $50 brunch. That's a bit ridiculous, obviously.
You go to a place called the Boathouse, but you're looking at the menu. They say the prices, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
If they don't ask, and if it's too much, leave. I just expected it to be cheap, right by the lake there or the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you mean oceanfront restaurants are expensive? My word. Okay, here we go. This one's just weird. It's only a second review, too. Yeah, this one's very weird. TS. Only 2 reviews. This one's a month ago, too, so this one's locally. Bra service was amateur. Very unsophisticated. Oh, wow. This guy's looking for, I want the most sophisticated servers ever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 3-piece suits.
I know. Like, listen to this guy here. Server had virtually no product knowledge. Seafood chowder, $10.99 was potato chowder. It's all capitals. It's all capitals. That's it. This guy wanted sophisticated clam chowder. Food was average. View was great. However, yeah, exactly. You can't be talking shit about people sophisticated when you can't even use proper fucking grammar, bro. However, but don't think I'll be back. You can't put however, but don't think I'll be back. Come on, buddy. Sophisticated my ass. You wanted sophisticated clam chowder? This guy's going into a restaurant that is an upper scale. It's not the upper scale, but it is upper scale restaurant. And you want to talk about sophistication, and then you go order a fucking clam chowder, homie, and then you're like, oh, it's potato chowder. Give me a break. Give me a break. I give that guy 1 star for being a total D-bag shit disturber. Not on my watch, buddy. Not on my watch. One more, we'll wrap it up. One more quick one here, we'll wrap it up. Oh, this does not look like a quick one. This person was mad though. They're mad at the. Oh, cool. Here. Okay, cool. Here's one where the response from the owner.
Oh, nice.
I always love those. Wow. Here we go. Last one. Round it out here. Last one here. NM1 review only. Only their only review is the boathouse. 2 months ago, 1 star. The service was horrible. Food was cold. No one came to check in with us during our meal, so we had no choice but to eat what was in front of us, since we were starving. I was waiting for water for majority of the time, and we were at the restaurant, and no one came over. Okay, that's a bit weird. I don't know if you're drinking water. When we called the server over, she gestured 1 minute and took her time to come over to us. The service and restaurant doesn't even deserve 1 star. Wow.
Crazy.
The hostess came to talk to us, and she had a terrible attitude. We will not be recommending this restaurant to any of our friends and suggest they choose another restaurant. Very disappointing. They were mad.
Not any of their friends, not even the ones they don't really like.
No, exactly. We hate this place so much. The people we don't like, we're not going to tell them. You know what I mean? You keep your friends close and your enemies closer. You know what I'm saying? And this is 1 straw that ain't going to. And then the response. I'm not even going to say the response from the owner is just a copy and paste bullshit thing about contacting us and contact us. We'll contact you direct and give you a coupon or some bullshit like that.
Oh, spitting your food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not. They didn't really bring these people. I think these people all thought they were trying to be too cool for school. Terrible reviews, people. I'm really disappointed with the Boathouse reviews, actually, man. I thought with that amount of reviews, we're gonna have some straight psychotic people. Didn't really see that. I saw a lot of people trying to be smart, and they turned out not to be smart, Kelly. Not you know what I mean? Not the best, but you know what I mean. We did have a little bit of silliness with it, and hopefully next week we can find a good place where we find the straight psychos of society.
Didn't find the photojournalists we're looking for.
Exactly. There was that one guy with 1,000 pictures.
I took so many pictures of the foods, the washrooms,
20
people in the washrooms. They were like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing? Take a picture of me in this washroom." And I was like, "Man, I'm a photojournalist. I'm doing God's work."
Google reviews. You came to me in a vision.
Yes, sir.
You were put on this earth to tour the world and Google reviews.
And take 1,000,000 fucking pictures.
And one thing before I go, don't skimp on the pictures. The pictures. As he's like fading out.
Last thing he says like, "Pixar didn't happen."
Oh, Kelly, you're hilarious. Oh, shit. All right. We're having too much fun here. Let's take a quick little break. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Have you ever gone to a lake to skate, and then you get your skates on and you kind of go in and just fall right in face first, get all wet? You're like, what the fuck? I want to skate. Next time, try using frozen water. This message brought to you by water.
Frozen water. Great, especially in the wintertime. From October to March, depending on your region. Have you ever been doing physical activities and needed some kind of liquid beverage to quench your thirst? Golly, if I only had some kind of thing to drink. Try water. It'll quench your thirst and it's great for your body. Looking to shed pounds? Drink water. Nothing but water. Wally, that hit the spot. Thank you, water. Welcome back, folks. Hope you enjoyed our commercials, and as always, go grab yourself a cold, tall glass of water on the house. Tap water, that is. Let's get to it. One of the better cards of the year, UFC 239. Henry Cejudo taking on Marlon Moraes. What a good card. Really good card. I watched most of it. Most of it was on a lot of highlight reels. Caitlin Chukagian. I think that's how it is. Beats Joanne Calderwood. Joanne Calderwood, she's kind of weird, Scottish. She's always kind of saying how she never got paid, and then the UFC did kind of back her and give her a good contract, and she's kind of fallen off since then. She hasn't really had a great fight since then. Eddie Wineland handing Gregor Popoff his first loss. And huge win for Eddie Wineland to turn back the clock. Huge. He was a big time WEC stable guy. And for him to beat up on an up and coming guy, especially undefeated, and this Gregor guy, a huge win for Eddie Wineland. Maybe we'll see him fight Uriah Faber again. They fought each other a ton in WEC. Darren Stewart continues his winning streak, beating Bevan Lewis. He was not supposed to win that fight, and here he pulls it out by decision, no doubt. Darren Stewart, that was one of his things. Wasn't his gas tank wasn't the best, but here he's showing he's got the chops to hang with these guys in the UFC, and I think come the next British card coming around, I think he will be definitely co-main eventing or close to that, at least main carding, and that's good for him. Angela Hill somehow loses. I was wondering why she was actually the underdog for this fight against Xiaonan Yan. I think she only has one loss. Yan does, where Angela Hill has quite a bunch. But I was kind of shocked that she was the underdog. I thought, maybe this is maybe this is a fight to take money on. But I'm glad I didn't because she ends up losing by decision. Ricardo Lamas, the Chicago Sun. Getting knocked out cold by Calvin Kattar. That was a highlight reel finish, too. Huge finish for Calvin Kattar, really catapulting him in the rankings of 145. I know your Ricardo Lamas has kind of had a bit of a downslide here, and this sends him crashing through the rankings. Now he's only going to be a top 20 fighter with that huge loss. Kattar's a tough dude. But still, he is ranked lower than you, and you lose to him. That's not a good stat to go with. But nonetheless, he does get knocked the fuck out. Good finish. You haven't seen the highlights. Check that one out. That was a really crazy finish. Did you see that one, Kelly?
No, I don't think.
It was on the pre, I think.
Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah, it was on the pre. Alexa Grasso wins against Carolina Kowalczyk. By decision as well. That's a huge win for Alexa Grasso. Azure Man Sterling beats Pedro Munoz. Man, that was a crazy war. Those guys were just constantly punching. What I really loved about that one was Sterling's pace. He was setting this really weird punching pace, and it was totally throwing Munoz off. It was kind of a weird jab, punch type thing, but the timing of it was like kind of slow. But it was plodding enough and had a weird rhythm where it was really just kind of tagging Munoz. Pedro Munoz is tough as fucking nails. He ate so many shots in that fight and just kept on coming forward. He was dangerous the whole time. But the height and the reach disadvantage that Pedro Munoz had in this fight, I think played the biggest factor. Mixing with that jab, it was just too much, and it added up. I don't think they had a ton of stank behind them, but just stanky enough to get the job done and take the three judges nod. Adgerman Sterling with probably the biggest win. He's tumbled a lot here recently at 135, and I think this is one of his biggest wins at 135. I love 135, you know what I mean? I was just thinking that the other day. I actually really like the division. 125, I couldn't stand. But 135 has got a ton of killers in it. And that's what they had talked about. This whole card was kind of like a 135, like a mini tournament almost, if you will.
A showcase.
Yeah, exactly. A showcase for who's going to be the next guy to get the belt on this. And if whoever thought of that idea, I like. because we had, because I think it was Eddie Wineland is 135 against Gregor Popov, and then I'm pretty sure Lamis is 145, but Sterling and Pedro Muse, that's 135. Peter Yan and Jimmy Rivera, that's 135 too. So a really crazy event that they had there. Who's going to be the next guy to get on? And 135 is deep, and they got a lot of killers in. I really I enjoy 135 for being a bit that more active, tougher division. And then with probably her toughest test to date, Tatiana Suarez edges out Nina Ansarov. Tough battle for Tatiana Suarez. She looked good in the first 2 rounds. It was a tough one. Did you catch that one, Kelly?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was good, but third round was definitely Nina Ansarov. She really turned it on, and I think Suarez kind of gasped a little bit, kind of had thought that, this would be enough to put her out, but it obviously wasn't, and we see that she was almost got pounded out there in the end, right in the dying seconds, but she Zach Morrised her way out of that and got saved by the bell. Tatiana Suarez remains on the Natural Born Killers list, calling out the champ. She wants a championship fight no matter who it is, and she's basically calling her shot right now. I think she's got one more fight and then she'll get it. I think she's obviously got to fight. She's huge for her weight class, but I think she has to fight Joanna before she can move on. But I don't know. Do you think she beats Joanna?
I hope Joanna starts doing better. So no.
And for her to lose to Joanna wouldn't be bad for her career, but I think obviously for Joanna to lose to Tatiana would be terrible for her career.
Yeah, it'd be pretty crushing. That'd be 3 in a row.
Yeah, exactly. She is fighting the toughest. She is fighting the toughest of the tough when it comes to the women's division.
Yeah.
But I think that's what happens. Fame killed her a little bit, and then the sport caught up to her, and here we're seeing, Joanna Jędrzejczyk is just kind of not the same fighter. She'll still garner headlines and main events, but 2 more loss, and that gold completely rusts off, and no one gives a shit anymore.
Kind of like the Cookie Monster.
What?
What's her name? She was a champ for a while. Her nickname's the Cookie Monster. She was like one of the first female champs in a certain division.
In Strike Force or something?
No, Cookie Monster. Here, just a minute. Monster. Here we go. Her name is. See, this is how much.
Oh right, Carla Esparza. Yeah.
That's a Rust, and no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
Carla Esparza was one of the first.
Yeah.
The first champion in the. What was it? 52.
I forgot her name was Cookie Monster. Yeah, no, she was the first champ. She totally was. I think she was like the first 125-pound champ. I think. Yeah, she's big time, and she's on the lower card now. She used to be the champ.
Yeah, exactly. No one cares about her.
No one does. Great fighter, Carla Esparza.
Sorry, I know people more by their nicknames.
Nothing wrong with that. Exactly. That's what you remember them by, right? That's what we were talking about, like the guys from 1FC. They need good nicknames.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a good writer over there for your nicknames.
It's like Misha Cake is Misha Cupcake.
Yeah, Cupcake Tate. Yeah.
I can't say it. Jesus.
What was the funniest thing? I was watching like a TKO event a few months ago.
Yeah.
And it was the exact opposite, where it was like guys like 1 and 2, and he's got like some like hardcore nickname, and the other guy's like 2 and 1, and he's got like some hard. You can't like have like these hardcore nicknames. The guy he was 1 and 2, and his nickname was the Celtic Nightmare. Like, come on, man.
Oh, I want to fight this guy with 3 fights, 1 loss.
No, he's got 1 win.
Whoa,
he's got 1 win, 2 losses.
Oh, even scarier.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying.
He's a nightmare.
His career is a nightmare already. You know what I mean? So I thought like you gotta, but like every one of this event had terrible nicknames like that, so they were just like obviously giving them. Yeah. So you need something. You gotta tone it down a little bit. You gotta tone it down. Like the bulldozer. You know what I mean? The tractor. You know what I mean? The assassin. Something like that. The pit bull. They're all pit bulls. Yeah. 5 guys are pit bulls.
It's illegal dog fighting. Gotta shut that down.
Throw a few eagles in there and you're set. Lion hearts, throw a lion and eagle, few pit bulls, and you're set. That's all you need to do. Write yourself.
You need a spider.
Okay, duh with a DA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think that's taken already.
Kindle Grove.
Yeah, he's got a Y in his. He's got a Y in his too.
Nice.
Blagoy Ivanov taking a close decision against Tua Tuivasa. I thought he had it. He kind of wobbled him there in the first. The second, third was rough to watch. Tuivasa just, kind of it's kind of hard to watch him fight sometimes. You're not sure. I don't know if he knows exactly what he's going to do. Is he going to grapple? Is he going to strike? He kind of seems not to really know what he wants to do as a fighter. I think you got to hitch your wagon to something and stick with it. I think you should get some boxing lessons. We see a lot of these Samoan dudes do great with boxing. His stand-up is kind of weird. You know what I'm talking about, Kelly?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's very crisp at all. I think he got really exposed with the Junior Dos Santos fight, where he got knocked out by Junior Dos Santos with his wild punching style, and now we're seeing a kind of a more tame punching style in it, but it's still not clean and crisp, and that's coming out, especially to be outboxed by a grappler in Ivanov. It was a weird showing for both dudes. It was a must-win for Ivanov because his last decision was a stinker that he did win, but still he should have lost that last one. But a big win for him. But I think everyone was expecting a finish. I think that's the reason why I was disappointed. Everyone wanted to finish with this one either way, with whether it be Ivanov to be knocked out and looking at the stars, or for Tuivasa to be good nighting. We wanted to see a finish, and we did not get that. We want blood! The one I was disappointed in, Peter Yan versus Jimmy Rivera. Great fight. It was actually a very, very good fight for 135ers, and that's really when I was thinking, man, 135 is a really good division. The unfortunateness of that is I put money on Jimmy Rivera to win. That's the only reason why I'm disappointed by the outcome. It was actually a very, very good fight where I felt so sorry for it because Jimmy was doing enough in the rounds, both 1 and 2, and I think he won the third one. He was doing enough in the whole round. The unfortunate is 30 seconds left, he got knocked out both times. In the first round and the second round, he got knocked down hard both times, basically negating all the work he had done in the first and the second round. If it would have been the opposite, if he would have came out in the round, got knocked out right away, and then did that, and then applied the amount of damage he did with those leg kicks and everything, they would have looked great for him. But just timing in the round. Where it was there was the period at the end of the round was Peter Yan on top of him, punching him, and him being double Zach Morris being saved by the bell was Jimmy Rivera. I thought he took the third though, but unfortunately, good win for Peter Yan. This guy, I was really up in the air about betting against Peter Yan because I know he'd been on one hell of a streak, but I thought Jimmy Rivera, the odds weren't super crazy, but Jimmy Rivera is a very tough 135, and this will be a true test for Peter Yan to go past him. What did you think of that fight, Kelly?
You pretty much summed it up very well. Good fight.
No, it was a good fight though. I wouldn't say fight of the year. I'll give it 4 stars though. I'll give it a 4-star fight. It was very good, back and forth from those dudes. They definitely let it out. We saw a little bit diversity and heart from both dudes. Peter Yan, his leg got chewed up, and he got beat up pretty good too. He caught a few punches in that too, but obviously he just walking down Jimmy Rivera. He'd eventually get Jimmy Rivera cornered, and once Rivera was cornered, he became flat-footed, and he just landed. It was just too easy for him to land that punch or that crazy kick.
I think I'm going to give it 3 stars just because the sound quality wasn't that great, and I saw some dirt on the mat,
Oh, exactly. The crowd wasn't to my liking.
The crowd booed when I didn't want them to boo. Actually, 2 stars. Thank you for reminding me of that.
You updated it afterwards? Oh, shit. That's something you could do. That could be something. Reviewing fights, giving fights a 5-star rating. Interesting. That's interesting.
Review like people review restaurants.
Yeah, exactly. I cared not for his shorts. 1 star. A great fighter, and he won the fight handily. Terrible shorts. That brings us to, man, what a disappointment of a fight, let alone this fight should have almost been the headlining fight because of the 5-round aspect. To have Tony Ferguson versus Donald Cerrone in a 3-round fight.
I thought that was stupid.
Yeah, that
Why
was
would
really...
you do that? You don't have enough money? Like, come on, man.
What's crazy, if you think about it, I think these dudes have been in so many 5-round fights and have never really fought for a belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what, and especially for Donald Cerrone, once again, his title contendership hopes are thrown into the fire and cast into ashes.
I would love to see another, like, 5-round rematch.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we need is a rematch.
Pay him the money for the 5-round. I don't understand why, like, the 3-round's stupid.
100%. And I thought, you know what I mean, Cerrone was the underdog, but I think it was a good bet for Cerrone to actually win this one. In the first round, he did show that. 'Cause let's be honest, Tony Ferguson, the dude went from 6 months ago taking apart his fireplace because he thought it was wiretapped and cutting out microchips out of his own leg. 6 months ago, that's what he was doing, to now fighting on one of the grandest stages for a #1 contendership for the 155-pound belt and a bigger paycheck. So, you know what I mean? Is the guy mentally 100% there? Who could be? No one could be that. No one could be that. He just went from from losing his family. They're back together now. Everything's fine. And, you know what I mean, to doing so much crazy, batshit crazy shit to now, oh, I'm fine, everybody. I'm fine. Okay, are you sure?
I'm fairly certain I don't have chips in my leg anymore. I got them all. We're okay.
These pills I'm taking say that there's no chips in my legs anymore. So I'm good.
Maybe that's what you need to be champ.
And microchips.
Crazy.
Everyone's talking about PEDs. We're talking about dermal implants here, folks. that changes everything. You can't fuck with a cyborg. Fuck PEDs. I just need some computer chips in my legs. First round, Donald Cerrone. You know what I mean? And second round, Tony Ferguson. Man, did he ever beat him up? He found room with that. He found that jab. I'll give it to Cerrone though. He was taking those body shots. I think Tony Ferguson had listened to your to the show, Kelly, and took your advice to heart. He was really trying to work the body there. Really, throwing 3 kicks to the body at a time. But I think Cowboy was landing on those exchanges, and I think maybe what we saw from El Kokui was he was a little bit slow, just a tiny bit slower in those tussles in the middle of the ring where they were both throwing leather. Cowboy was getting the better damage and just getting out of the way of Tony Ferguson's shots. But I think on the second round, we finally see Tony Ferguson find his range with the body and the head. I think he landed 2 big shots, and I think that's what got Donald Cerrone's hands dropped. And then he just started eating jab after jab after jab. But come on, man, you can't blow your nose, dude. You can't. You know what I mean? That's day one stuff. That's, you know what I mean? He blew it and it swelled up. Because you can even see, like, in the middle of the fight, he blew it and it swelled up. In the middle, just before the round was ending.
And he was trying to push the liquid out of it.
Yeah, and it looks like it kind of worked because it was gushing after that. So then his eyes closed, like not super, but you can still see his eyeball. Yeah. And then he's fine. He's getting, you know what I mean? The bell, the whistle goes. The stools are back out, and he goes to straight up below his nose, and then poof, his eye explodes, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck? This really hurts," because like my eye is like super swollen now. And he tries to push the blood out of his eye socket, and then his nose just starts pouring after that. The doctors come in, and the fight, unfortunately, is over. TKO.
Rematch.
Yeah, it's got to be a rematch.
For an interim belt.
Got to be the battle of the interims. So like 155 is an interim championship and a normal championship. Yeah. At all times.
It could be on the same card as Khabib and Poirier.
Now you're talking double champion. You could be the 2-time win 2 belts at one time for the same weight class.
Like a mini tournament.
Exactly.
So Khabib fights Poirier, and
Yep.
Donald fights Tony, and then the winners fight each other.
Because I think
Take
Dustin Poirier has a belt too. I think they actually gave him a belt.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So it really be like they're fighting for like that interim and real belt, and then there's another interim belt.
The only guy who doesn't have a belt is Cowboy. The 4 dudes. Like, what the hell?
They should give Cowboy like an honorary belt.
The Cowboy belt.
The Cowboy belt.
The Cowboy
so
belt.
someone else can win the Cowboy belt.
There you go. So then you could one night 4 belts. Someone's gonna need a bigger waist.
World Championship belt. Intern belt. Intern belt. And Cowboy belt.
Trying to turn the UFC into boxing here.
Just keep going. Intern belt. Intern belt.
You can't blow your nose off. One thing I forgot to mention was we saw like the first Jill shot in the UFC. Did you see that on the Suarez and Sarah fight?
No.
Where she got kneed into like the
yeah.
lower area in
Okay.
the lower lumbar
That's what
there.
it's called.
Yeah.
I thought it was called a box shot.
No, it's a Jill. It's a Jill because
Okay.
that's what they got to wear. Because guys wear jocks, girls wear Jills. You know what I mean?
I see.
So she got hit in the Jills. And yeah, I'd never seen anything like that before. I guess that's the reason why they wear it. And, main event. Another dude here we see, you know what I mean, come across our time is one of the best of all time. Let's break it down here. Henry Cejudo versus Marlon Magic Moraes. I think it's Henry Cejudo. Is he the chosen one or something like that? I think it's his nickname.
Oh, sure. Marlon was looking great in the beginning.
Those kicks, my God, Kelly. He didn't need to go get a haircut after that fight because Henry Cejudo was getting his haircut that whole night. Those kicks were lethal. The kicks from the first round. The messenger, Henry the Messenger Cejudo. Those kicks were lethal. The low kicks, the body shots, the head kicks. Cejudo is just too tough. Like, what a smart dude. Took that beating, but did not give up. Did he ever take a beating in that first round too? He didn't get a chance to get a takedown. By all means, that if anyone else was in that fight, they would have given up. They thought, I can't compete against this guy. His striking is way too good for me. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing and hopefully something works. Not Henry Cejudo. He comes in with a different game plan, closing the gap. Man, and that is what has always really stuck with me in my early days of when I was, getting into loving combat sports. It was a terrible organization, IFL, and they had Dan Severn would do like these little skits, kind of these little self-defense things in between events, like in between fights. He would do these little seminars and shit like that, how to get out of this, how to get out of that, what to do in this situation. And the one that always stuck with me was how to avoid getting kicked. And that's move forward. And it's the simplest thing. Time and time again, we see people moving backwards. There's obviously more to it, like moving to the left or moving to the right, but moving forward is the most important thing. Time and time again, we see these guys trying to avoid the kicks. And by avoiding the kicks, they're actually backing up, which is the worst thing you can do when it comes to being kicked. Cejudo changes game plan, move forward, lands a few punches, lands a few more punches, and then next thing you know, Moraes is wobbled. Next thing you know, it's like, what the hell just happened? He landed enough shots to get into it. Second round totally was Cejudo. And then third round, it was all Cejudo doing the same thing again, coming in this time even more aggressive. And that's why I thought there was kind of like this spot in the beginning of the first. In the beginning of the second round, where I was like, this is kind of getting a little boring now. And then it just something switched with Cejudo and he started attacking. You know what I mean? Rather than two dudes trying to counterpunch each other, he goes on the offensive, he goes on the attack, and it turned into one of the greatest rounds in MMA history, in my opinion, especially for a comeback. Cejudo came in and just totally put a whooping on him. Second round could have been a 10-8 round. And then the third round, Moraes just never got his legs underneath him. And it was just one of the most amazing comebacks and underdog stories in the history of MMA. A dude who was 125.
And for all you Americans who say that Mexicans are taking your jobs, This guy's parents were undocumented. Mexicans came over. He was born in America. He's an American, but go try to take his job from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not taking your job.
Yeah, exactly.
He's beating everybody.
This is a dude who has got the definition of heart, and the definition of smarts too. I think that's what Cejudo's got. He's super. His fight intelligence is off the Richter, mate, and he's just an amazing fighter.
And could you imagine if he wasn't born in America? What kind of tragedy would that be?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That's the one thing about America is their college sports are fucking ridiculous. No other country has college sports like they do. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what Henry Cejudo was, an amazing college wrestler, and they support the fuck out of you. If you're even have somewhat of a interest in it, you don't even really have to be that good, but if you have an interest in it, they'll support the shit out of you. And that's one thing America does well is their collegiate sports and their Olympic sports. They want to be the best, and they have no problem throwing money at people to try to make them the best and do the best that they can with the potential they have. And that's the one thing America does good. You know what I mean? They got a lot of fucked up shit, but I think that's one thing that the world forgets about is just how these athletes are brought up, and they really get a lot of support. We don't see that much in Canada. That's the shitty thing. Only lost 2 times to Benavides. I forgot about that in a split decision. And obviously losing to Mighty Mouse to come back and to beat Mighty Mouse. What a resume to have. Beating Mighty Mouse, his last 3 fights, beating TJ Dillashaw by TKO, and then TKOing Marlon Moraes. Especially at that weight. Only 32. Future is long and bright. I get for Henry Cejudo. I totally think he's going to be one of those great commentators afterwards too. Just how smart he is. I can't wait to see what the future brings for him. 145 though, Kelly. What do you think? What do you think, man? Because he is quite short. 145. Do you think he has it to even like? I think he can win a fight. Let's not talk about a fight. But do you think he could win the 145-pound belt?
No, I think Khabib's like a bigger, tougher version of him. I don't know. I don't think he can take it.
Especially like to beat Holloway.
Oh yeah, sorry.
You know what I mean?
About wrong weight class.
No, I'm just saying though. But like to
Holloway,
fight Holloway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Holloway's huge.
Yeah.
He's only 5'4". That's the biggest knock for Henry Cejudo. His heart is 7'7", but his actual height is only 5'4". You know what I mean? But man, what an inspiring show. I totally had something in my eye after he won. Great speech afterwards too. Olympic gold medalist, 125-pound champ, and 135-pound champ. Absolutely amazing. I think he's got to relinquish the 125, or maybe just that division gets dissolved, and all those dudes have to come up to 135, or you know what I mean, or find another job, basically. But I did not see this coming. I had him counted out well before when the fight was first announced. I totally had him counted out. But Henry Cejudo proving the world wrong, and I think it's just something he saw coming. He never doubted himself, and tough dude.
Speaking of Max, who's he fighting next? Do you know?
Frankie Edgar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Frankie Edgar. Yeah, I don't see him having a chance at 145. I think he could be like a top 10 guy, but that's a big jump.
Fight Frankie, he's small too.
Yeah, that'd be actually a good fight.
Yeah,
I think he'd beat. I think actually Cejudo would win that fight. Yeah. Actually, even Connor.
Yeah, Connor would be a good fight.
Yeah,
too.
I think champ versus champ. Yeah.
Yeah, this is some people I can't see him winning against like Max Holloway.
Yeah, of course. Brian Ortega.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Jose Aldo.
Ouch. He'd be he's eating kicks before, man. You don't want to eat all those.
Oh, these guys. Marlon Rice is a big 135, but these guys are big 145s. You know what I mean? There's lots of dudes in that division. Right? I just don't see him having a. You know what I mean? These guys are real killers. I don't see him having a chance. No. What time are we? Holy shit, man! Talk about babbling. Wow, lots of talk today. Quickly, I just want to get the Super Showdown before we round out the show here. Awesome event with a ton of fireworks. Was really cool. That was the coolest part about it. Big open arena, 100 degrees though. How nuts is that? I love how the floor was actually general admission this time. It wasn't just like the elite kings and princes and shit like that with these super big chairs. There was actually a crowd in the bottom. But it was a pretty terrible event, to tell you the truth, Kelly. This guy here, they have a 50-man battle royale. Like, I thought it was going to be like a 50-man Royal Rumble, but it was a 50-man battle royale. So that means 50 people are in the ring at one time. 50. You know what I mean? So they had to reinforce the ring or something. That's a lot of meat. You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's a lot of weight. You know what I mean? So it's tons of weight. You know what I mean? So they had to reinforce the ring, but it was kind of funny because like the first is just so jam packed. People are just get crowd surfing being thrown out. So it was interesting for that. But the winner though of it, like my god, this total nobody, no name fucking guy from NXT. Just because he's from Saudi Arabia, he wins the 50-man battle royale. But he's like a total nobody, like absolute lowest level of the roster on NXT, which is the minor league show already, Kelly. It's already the minor league show. This guy, he's on the lower roster. I only know him because I just had he was on the most recent episode of NXT. And he goes on to win the whole fucking thing. I was pretty disgusted, to tell you the truth. I thought it was a terrible move. I understand why they did it, but it was so anticlimactic. I understand he's Saudi Arabian, but build him up a little bit and then have him win this thing. Don't just have it and he's like, we just found out who he was like 2 weeks ago, and now he's winning the 50-man Royal Rumble Battle Royale against all these legends and great wrestlers. They're going to let this guy win. I was totally confused.
He probably paid for it. He's like a Saudi prince or something. He's super rich.
No, I think it was obviously just for the crowd, but it was fucked up, Kelly. There was people crying. The crowd was going insane. There was people crying in the crowd. It was fucking insane. The crowd lost it. The crowd lost it. Everyone was chanting and cheering, and it was pretty. I know exactly why they did and why they did, but I think they should have built this dude up a little bit and then let him win this thing, rather than not building up at all. But a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people had to look at this dude up, who he was when he won this, because it was a very odd move. Very odd move. Goldberg versus Undertaker. It started off good enough, Kelly, but Goldberg got his fucking head cut open, like super bad, like right off the bat, like a huge gash on the side of his head. So he was like just like gushing blood for a good long time. The heat was too much for these old dudes. That was the problem. Because Goldberg tried to pick up Undertaker and almost dropped him right on his fucking neck. Oh, yeah. And then just to go for the final choke slam, it was rough. Goldberg was just out of it. From the loss of blood, from the heat. Apparently Goldberg had collapsed backstage afterwards too, from exhaustion, because it was just too much for him. He looked great though. That's why I was like, fuck. That's the first thing I thought when Goldberg was stepping down. Man, he looks fucking shredded still. He's 50. You know what I mean? And he looks fucking like a hulking beast still. You know what I mean? He looks in an amazing shape, but that weather, the heat, the blood loss, obviously that wasn't in the script, and everything that went with it. The end of the match was bad. The end of the match was really bad, and I'm just glad that Undertaker didn't get hurt, because it was rough. I'd give it. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really like the event, honestly. It was not that great with the results we got. We got no title changes. I didn't really like it that much. I'm just being honest. It wasn't that great of an event for how star-studded it was with the talent they had, and the fireworks was huge. Like the fireworks show was like worth a few million at least, Kelly. It was massive. It was like something you see at like the Super Bowl or the Olympics or something. It was crazy fireworks. It was crazy fireworks. Oh shit! But I'm gonna give it a C. I'll give it a C. All right, man. How's the Ruckusin been going?
Oh, it's good. It's good weather for it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't ride for a long time because of my arm, but I started riding again recently.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
Well, that's
Not
good.
Much to say about it.
Yeah, good old Ruckus. Keeping it real with the Ruckus. You got anything else you want to talk about, man?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, ran quite long today on a little bit of material.
1:30.
That's how we roll. That's how we roll. Just kind of split it right down the middle. Pretty good segment right in the middle there, and did a good job. Well, for myself and co-host and producer extraordinaire Kelly, you've been listening to the New Podcast. Signing off.